If you move to Canada, you don't just gain rights, you take on a duty. As immigrants, we didn't leave everything behind just so that we can start over. We did it because we believed Canada could give us safety, stability, and a better future. We lost years of our lives, family traditions, and the comfort of home. But we did it so that our kids can grow up in a better country. And without assimilation, that's not going to happen. If we want Canada to still be that for our kids and our grandkids, then we need to do our part.
Immigrants are taking our jobs. Immigrants are taking our jobs. Well, if you were good at it, we wouldn't have to. Who said that? So rude, world peace. Your car is German, your pizza is Italian, your democracy is Greek, your coffee is Brazilian, your movies are American, your shirt is Indian, your electronics are Chinese, your numbers are Arabic, your letters are Latin, and you're gonna complain that your neighbor is an immigrant? Get the fuck out of here.
They want you to blame immigrants for all your problems in your country. All the countries are doing it now. But it's not the immigrants that are raising the prices of your education system, raising the price of your food, raising the price of your rent. These people that barely speak English, that have no skills, they're not taking your jobs either. Yet every single problem can be blamed on them. And no one's blaming the banks. No one's blaming the government or the officials. Isn't that interesting? Just everyone riled up against the immigrants. And you know what's even more ironic and interesting? With all these countries, they're all countries that have been founded on immigration and taken, stolen land by immigrants, and then 100 or 200 years later, they're turning around and saying, wait a minute, we don't want any immigrants in this. Wait a minute. Your entire country was founded on immigrants. You literally stole the land from the indigenous people, and you're all blaming each other, except for blaming them. It worked perfect. Like, their system worked perfect, and you fell right into their trap. It's fucking hilarious. But actually, it's traumatizing at the same time. I don't even fucking know how to describe this anymore.
Well, according to the Canadians, immigrants and Indian fatigue is becoming one of the most serious crises in Canada right now. The Canadians are all over complaining about these people filling up their country. They are saying if you go into their country, you won't recognize Canada anymore. Canada is now becoming India 2.0. Some of them are even calling Canadian or Indianada because of the amount of Indians and the amount of immigrants and the highest number of immigrants that are now residing and moving from their countries to go and settle in Canada. The Canadians are also complaining that these Indians and these immigrants are taking up their jobs. If you go to airports, not to mention buses, bus stops, not to mention Ubers, not to mention hotel, restaurants, the number of employees there, they are immigrants. They are everywhere. They are residing everywhere, doing everything. And the Canadians are not happy about this. The Canadian youths can't get these jobs because the jobs have been already occupied by the immigrants. But again, the Canadians are saying these people, our youths, our Canadian youths are not getting these jobs because some of them are confused. Some of them are engaging in drugs. They are junkies. They doesn't want to work. If a youth is below 30 years, doesn't want to work. That is why when these international students and these immigrants and these Indian came into Canada, they come and see this opportunities. The Canadian youth doesn't want to work. That's according to a comment section I saw on my previous video. Others are saying, no, it's not all about cheap labor or what they are calling it. These Canadians, the Canadian employers are preferring to employ these immigrants and these Indians because these Indians, number one, they pay tax 4 times the tax the Canadians are paying. and they are offering these Canadian employers cheap labor. That is why majority of the employees you see around Canada, they are immigrants. Why? Because they are offering cheap labor than the Canadian themselves can't offer, because they know the value of the value of the money there. But when these immigrants come there, they come to seize an opportunity, and when they see it, they really want to work. They really want to work. And that is why the Canadian employers are giving them these jobs, because they know they have acquired a cheap labor. That's according also to a comment section I saw on my previous video. And in this video, I want us to look into why these Canadians are blaming the immigrants, or let's say immigrants fatigue. And then at the end, I'll be giving my commentaries. In the meantime, subscribe and let's watch this video.
You know, instead of saying that immigrants are taking our jobs, we need to start calling it what it is. The government is giving away our jobs. Greedy CEOs are giving away our jobs. We need to blame the actual people that are causing the issues that we're facing now. No immigrant has the power to take your job until a CEO decides it would be much cheaper to fire you, apply for an LMIA, and a government official going, oh yeah, 100%, there's definitely a shortage of workers in an industry that is oversaturated with qualified individuals. Because like I've said multiple times, people blaming immigrants is exactly what this government wants, because it takes away the attention from the greedy CEOs, the greedy store owners, and the greedy government, and it redirects that negative attention towards visible minorities, giving the government and these people who abuse the system ammo and credibility to call you racist, which delegitimizes your argument no matter how factual, which results in the majority of Canadians not believing you. If you say the government and the CEOs and the corporations are giving away our jobs, it is much harder to use the race card and delegitimize your argument. Because it wasn't some random immigrant sitting in a village in the middle of nowhere in another country that decided to pick up the phone and do a three-way call between the company owner and the government just to say, hey, you should lay this guy off and I can work for you at the same rate and only half the pay. Immigrants aren't the ones taking your jobs. It's the people that we trust and have given all the power to run the country that have taken the jobs.
Well, I'm an immigrant. I came to Canada as an international student years ago, and I do believe in those people who say Canada needs to do better with its immigration program, because they're letting everyone in, and it's completely true. Being an immigrant, I have seen a lot of things where Canada really needs to do better. They need to do proper background checks. And honestly, there is a problem with that thing. But let's not forget this thing. There are good people as well, good and hard-working immigrants as well. Those who do hard work. And Canada needs more people like them. But not as of now. As of now, Canada needs to think how they can do better with these people. Who agrees with me?
How the fuck does this make any sense? The average hardworking Canadian makes about $60,000 a year and taxed at 30% income tax. Now, if you come here as a refugee, you're getting $224 per day, which equates to $82,000 a year tax-free. Meanwhile, Canadians can't afford groceries, they can't afford gas, they can't afford rent. People were drowning. Our healthcare system is broken. People were literally dying in ERs waiting to be seen. Our law and safety is out of control. People are getting their houses broken into at night, people are getting shot in front of their families, and criminals are just walking away with no consequences. And yet our government continues to pour our money into unqualified refugees and immigrants, ignoring the people that are already here, working their asses off, paying insane amount of tax. And before you start blabbing in my comments, yes, I'm a third generation immigrant. I'm all about immigration, proper immigration. But fix what's broken first before you start tossing Canadian dollars like it's free. Hardworking Canadians are getting crushed daily and nobody in power seems to give a shit. Tell me I'm wrong, comment in the comments because it's getting out of control.
Why do some Indian guys say like I hate on Indians or something? Here's the truth about this. The Indian immigrants from the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s, 2000s worked very, very hard to get a certain kind of reputation in Canada. They worked their butts off, they got racism stuff on them, but you know what? Eventually they turned that over. And then in the last 5 years now, 2020 and beyond under Justin Trudeau, they let in every Indian immigrant with no background checks. Some of them were like the bottom feeders of society, and somehow they got approved for freaking Canada. Instead of getting engineers and doctors, all the good people, we got the bottom feeders of India here. And then when they come here, they freaking ruin everything. These are the guys that were at the Muskoka Bridge shooting their weapons and stuff like that. I think they're all cool, these scrawny little Indian men. They're, oh, look at me on social media, I'm shooting stuff up, we are so cool. But the reality is they're bottom feeders, okay? They are bottom feeders, they should not have came here. And these are the people that are ruining our Indian reputation. So it's not hate, okay? Use your brain, okay? The fact is that these guys are ruining our reputation. My grandfather and my father worked their butts off to have a certain reputation, and these numpty idiots from India with no background checks are ruining it for us. And these are the same people that stand 1 inch behind you. They butt in line. They also smell like BO constantly. They never open the door for you when you're behind them. They're literally the pieces of shits of society in India, and they are here. So that is what I'm calling out. So if you're not that, you are on my side. We are the good Indians, and we want to make sure that Indians get a good reputation. And my goal is to help make the Indian community great again and Canada great again.
I'm not Indian, but I don't have to be to talk about the hate that my Indian brothers and sisters are receiving for no reason. You see, one thing about the South Asian community is that other countries want to do a thing where they say, oh, they're talking about India, they're not talking about us. My friend, when someone random walks past the street and looks at you and you're South Asian, 9 times out of 10, they're going to think you're Indian. That's one part of the community. Then there's a whole nother section of the community that make fun of themselves to impress other backgrounds. I don't even know why you lot do that. Have some confidence. Be proud of where you're from. And I saw another brother talking about this. There's people that purposely go to the poorest parts of India and showcase it, trying to poke fun. We can do that in all countries. We don't because we have class, but people can do that in every single country in the world. So at the end of the day, I might not be Indian myself, but I do feel a type of way when I see these things. Because at the end of the day, whether you like it or not, if you're from the South Asian community, 9 times out of 10, they're talking about us. Don't try and exclude yourselves from the joke.
Personally, I believe this crisis of immigrants and mass immigration from other countries to Canada, or let's say Indians to Canada, it's a thing that should be blamed to the government, not the immigrants. The immigrants are not on the wrong side because the immigrants just applied for a visa to be in Canada. And eventually, the Canadian government approved these visas. So, in short, the government is still allowing more and more immigrants into the country, not knowing or knowingly that the country is facing a huge housing crisis. So if they allow this huge number of immigrants into the country, where will they live? Where will they get the jobs? Yeah, and where will the people of Canada get the houses to host these people? And yet the government is not doing anything about it. That is why you see right now there is a spare bedroom tax, because the housing crisis is getting too way out of hand. But to cope up with this, the government doesn't even want to understand that these immigrants are the one leading to this housing crisis. But still, they are importing these immigrants. So this shouldn't be pinned on the immigrants themselves, because they are just applying for a visa and the Canadian government is approving that visa. So it leads to huge number of immigrants in Canada. The Canadians themselves are not happy because these people, when they come into Canada, they take up their jobs, because someone might get fired of working into a certain company for 10 or 20 years or so. But when the employer sees a cheap labor with the same skills, they will fire the person who's been working for 8 or 10 years or the longest time there, because they are being paid higher. And they will hire these Indians, these immigrants who are being paid a little bit lower. Yeah, that is what currently happening. And the Canadians are not happy about this. Also, these people are providing cheap labor because they have come to seek these opportunities in that country, of which their countries doesn't offer this labors or these job opportunities. So I think this immigration issue should not be pinned on the immigrants themselves, should be pinned on the government, because the government has the moral authority and power to control the number of immigrants that are coming to reside in Canada or seek asylum, or let's say to seek residence in Canada, or to seek for these jobs. And international students also are getting these jobs because the Canadian employees know very well that we will get these employees to work for us for hours at a very cheap labor, which the Canadian cannot do. But in the meantime, you do tell me what you think. Maybe I'm just here overthinking, but I'm just speaking out loud. According to what I've seen, it shouldn't be blamed on the migrants. It should be blamed on the government or the liberals. Tell me what you think, guys, in the comment section. Let's have a discussion, and I hope to see you in my next video. And remember to subscribe. Adios.